The right to a cleaner environment is a principle recognizing that every individual is entitled to live in an environment that is safe, healthy, and sustainable. This right encompasses access to clean air, water, and soil, and includes the protection of biodiversity and ecosystems. It is rooted in the idea that a healthy environment is fundamental to the well-being and dignity of human life. This right is increasingly being recognized in national constitutions, international treaties, and by courts, and it often involves holding governments and corporations accountable for environmental protection and pollution prevention. On that note, an environmental advocate, Comrade Friday Barilule Mbani, the executive director of Lake Development Foundation, a non-governmental organization which is also a foremost cleaner environment-driven conservation and climate change mitigation hub in the oil-rich Niger Delta region of Nigeria. Lake Development Foundation has always campaigned for a safer and cleaner environment, which led to the visit of her director and his teams to the Kensarawiwa Memorial Park in Bani, Ogoni land. This is a park built in memory of the renowned human and environmental rights activist Kensarawiwa of blessed memory. On their arrival at the park, they were received by the head of programs, Kensarawiwa Foundation, Mr. Dumsil. Mr. Dumsil assured Lake Development Foundation of a collaborative effort and that Kensarawiwa Foundation remains resolute in upholding Ken's beliefs and ideas for a clean and healthy environment.
Everybody knows what Ken stood for, so the foundation is actually trying to cement that legacy and then keep his name going. We believe everything Ken stood for. We believe in livelihoods, we believe in using literature for art and activism. We believe that man deserves to live in a clean environment because it's a gift from nature, and he must keep the environment in a way that is good enough for those coming after him. So that's the same thing I as a person stand for. And then as someone representing the foundation, sure, that's what we stand for. So okay, I told them about the park, the reason for setting up this park, want to keep Ken's legacy, but also want to make it a resource center to rejig people's mindsets towards the things of which he died, and then to raise new voices. I've actually started doing that, training young persons on how to use the new media platform for environmental advocacy. So that's what I told him about. He knows about Ken already. Then he asked me a few questions about where we were and where we are right now. Yeah, I think that was basically, and I told him the need that we're open for collaborations. We are taking this into the next level. We want to raise new voices. We want people to know that Ogoni is still polluted, despite the efforts being made by Hyprep, but there's a whole lot more to do. Well, Leke is already doing something with us. They had an event last year at Uniport on November 10. So for the past 2 years, Leke has been hosting a conversation around the Ogoni environment on every November. That's the memorial event. Last, I think November 8th, they had something at University of Port Harcourt. And then the head of Leke Foundation was here. He emceed that event November 10 last year. And then we're having much wider conversations too on how we can collaborate, because Leke Foundation believes in a lot of the things that Kensarawiwa Foundation does. And then for someone so young and making so much effort, the Kensarawiwa Foundation is open to him anytime, any day, whenever he wants us for a collaboration.
At the park, the director of Lake Development Foundation, Comrade Friday Barilule Mbani, explained that they choose to carry out this consultative visit here in line with their upcoming program tagged Fussy-Free Campaign, and a visit to this park is of great importance because it can be likened to going back to the drawing board, as this is the hometown of late Kensarawiwa, who started the campaign for a safer and cleaner environment in the Niger Delta.
This is Friday Mbani Barilule. I am the executive director of Lake Development Foundation. The word Lake is an Ogoni language that simply means a comfortable environment where people can live happily in a healthy way. Oh, thank you so much. Lake Development Foundation, we are planning a campaign. We call it Fussy-Free Campaign. That's going to be by October this year. And before the campaign, we say it's necessary to go back to the drawing board, go back to the hometown, go back to the village where this idea started from. And that is from the hometown of Kensarawiwa. And why we are here is to feed the spirit, to feed the passion, to feed the interest, to build idea, to assimilate it in us, so that all our team members will be filled with that kind of movement. Because after a year, we are swimming into action. Who was Ken Saro-Wiwa? He was a fighter, a freedom fighter. He was the man, a spokesperson that was long ago talking about a fossil-free environment, talking about a climate justice, talking about compensation and reparation. He was talking about a climate death. That was a lot of atrocity that was happening along with hydrocarbon extraction in Ogoni, in Niger Delta. And because he is still alive today, we have to come here and do a consultation with Ken Saro-Wiwa before we launch the campaign by October.
Speaking on the sidelines, Mrs. Melody Yobo, team member of Laken Development Foundation, posited that the harsh environment as a result of climate change has disproportionately affected women and that Laken Development Foundation is working with relevant agencies to mitigate the negative effects of that on women.
Affects the female gender in our environment. We can all agree that today more women, more young girls, more female children are faced with issues of cancer, cervical cancer, cancer of the breast, leukemia, cancer of the blood, different respiratory diseases. Why do I mention women? Because women and children are the most vulnerable when it comes to such diseases and problems. Women are more affected.
Moving on, Laken Development Foundation further journeyed to the extremely polluted and deserted Goi community in Gokana local government area, where the team members were left emotional as the level of pollution broke everyone's heart. Professor Mark Driscoll, a renowned professor of environmental history from the University of North Carolina, USA, on his eyewitness accounts, says it is shocking to see the rate of destruction to the environment here. After 3 decades, it's still visible and overwhelming. This criminality must be addressed by those responsible for it. I'm so thankful to Laken Development Foundation for bringing me here. I had an abstract sense of the pollution and the devastation that Shell perpetrated in Goi and other areas in Ogoni land, but this is the extreme I've ever seen.
Very moving for me to be here. It's shocking to see the destruction to the environment after 3 decades, 31 years. It's still visible and palpable. You can feel the crimes that have been committed by Shell here. It's just shocking and overwhelming. Yeah, no, this is a very moving experience for me to be here, to witness this criminality. So thank you to Friday for bringing me here. Yeah, I had an abstract sense of the pollution and the devastation that Shell perpetrated on Goi in other areas in Ogoni land. But to see it is very powerful. It's very powerful and enraging. It just makes me angry at them. But not just them. This is what fossil fuel business do to all places in different ways. But here it's the most extreme I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like this. And the effects, of course, go all the way from the soils, all the way into the upper atmosphere with greenhouse gas pollution. So it's incredible to see this, to see clearly, to see with eyes wide open the damage that fossil fuel companies do to the environment.
Professor Mark further says the effect of the greenhouse pollution perpetrated by the fossil fuel companies all the way from the soil to the upper atmosphere is incredibly damaging to the environment. Mark continued, the battle of the Ogoni people is completely justified and it makes so much sense for the people to fight back and resist the eco-colonialism. Such coloniality is still here and still very present. Just like Kensarowiwa would say, the struggle continues with you all, but I need to do my part because I'm partly responsible for this and all the people who benefited in the global north from the profit. But Shell needs to do what they can to repair the damage. The DG Lake and Development Foundation, Comrade Friday by Lule Mbani, says, whenever I visit Goe community and see how oil giants, Shell and the likes destroyed the community with oil spillage, my experience is always horrible. It's sad that the whole community is deserted just for the benefits of Shell, few individuals, and other multinationals. The natives of Goe are now refugees in another community as a result of the effect of the pollution in the atmospheric, terrestrial, and the aquatic lives. The poisonous odor in the air that we are breathing now is so obvious and life-threatening. I am informed that the only time these people return home is when they have a loved one to be buried. And this is so sad to me. Their sources of livelihood have been destroyed literally due to the horrendous environmental damages shared by Shell and her cohorts.
Whenever I visited this particular community, Goe, in Gokran local government, Ogoni, Rivers State, I will feel emotion. It's very, very emotional. Affect my languages, affect my system because of the feeling that I have for the community. The whole community can leave your community because of housing, because of hydrocarbon, because of benefits of few people from the share, maybe with other multinational oil companies. How many numbers of people in that place are eating the wealth of this community? And a whole community, grandfather, grandmother, mother, and father, young people, women, children have to leave their community as refugees because of your own interest. Profit more than the life of people. You can see oil till now. Over 30 decades, 30 years ago, where people pack out from this community, the visibility of the damage of the life obvious up to this extent.
Also speaking, Mr. Freedom Mbakbone, a team member of Lake and Development Foundation, shared that it is so devastating and heartbreaking to hear that the natives of this community are hanging out as refugees in another community. Their water is polluted with oil and they could no longer farm or fish.
It's so devastating and heartbroken when I get to this community today. I've been hearing, but I've not been here before. But when I got there today, it is so devastating that when I got to this community, I could not see anybody. The native of this community, parents, they are now refugees in another communities. They are now hanging out. And it baffles me when I ask someone that I saw, say it is only when they died that they bring them back to this community to bury. It is so painful. But I shed tears. My heart is broken. When I look at the level of their water, I could see oil. The odor alone is offensive, such that where they were farming, where they were fishing, they could no longer fish as a result of this pollution and environmental devastation that shared have caused in this community. My brother, it is so heartbroken. It is painful.
A native of Goe community, Mr. Pagbara, narrated his ordeal. When we were in our community, the spillage occurred and affected our sources of livelihood. We have been suffering because we couldn't carry out our fishing activities anymore, and these have been our major source of survival. As it stands, we don't have any meaningful engagement that can put food on our table. We are really suffering. We used to have periwinkle, fish, and some other things to eat from now the polluted river. Since the spillage occurred, our mothers and fathers have been left with nothing to eat or make ends meet from. We were managing to stay in the community, but it got to the stage where we had to run away from our homes because the oil spillage came with a very toxic and offensive odor, and our lives were in danger.
We community that when we dey for the community and this oil spoil the fishing wey we dey go and get fish wey we go chop, get food wey we go chop. We just dey, we no get anything to do again. So we just dey suffer because we no have something to do and chop. We dey get flamingo for the water, we dey get fish
and something to chop inside the water. When e come spoil, our mama and our papa dem dey just like that. Dem no fit food to chop again.
Away from that, it is a known fact that environmental degradation is a major threat to the human race if left unchecked. On that note, Laken Development Foundation is calling on relevant stakeholders like Shell, other multinationals, and the federal government of Nigeria to give Goi community a sense of environmental justice by cleaning up their environment and compensating them accordingly.